Goedendag. Hello everyone. Here we are in Zandvoort in the Netherlands. It's a beautiful circuit embedded into the dunes. We're right at the beach. Unfortunately, we're not having beach weather here at the moment, but for the moment it's dry. So let's see what the race will bring in regards to the weather. And the man who's got his maiden pole here today is Jordan Pepper. So you're very excited about that. Also, I saw your mom is here, your girlfriend is here, your sister is here. So you've got so much support from South Africa. So how are you going to do it that hopefully you'll get your victory here today?
Yeah, I mean, special, right? I think DTM was always a dream, and to get my first pole is just amazing. Yeah, obviously we had the opportunity of the rain to capitalize. We did it. Super proud of the team and the boys, but now we get the big points in the race, and that's what's important. And yeah, hopefully the extra support, the love and the support from my mom, my sister, and my girlfriend is just so special to share these cool moments with them as well. And I know the whole of my family is at home watching on the TV, watching the stream, so shout out to them. And I can imagine it's going to be a long hour for them like it will be for us. So fingers crossed. For sure, not the easiest conditions for my first race starting from pole with the mixed conditions, but I trust in myself, I trust in our crew, and I think we have a great opportunity today.
All right, well, you push hard. Best of luck, Jordan. And now here are your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, we always get unpredictability here at Zandvoort. We've had 10 different winners from the last 10 DTM races here over the years. And in the GT3 era, we've now had 6 different pole sitters. And as Verena said, a maiden pole position for Jordan Pepper, who moved from South Africa over here to Germany back in, what was it, 2013 to race in the VW Sirocco R Cup, supporting the DTM. Winner won that in 2014. He's had a great GT career. He's always wanted to be here, though, and he's on pole position for the race. We can go back to the grid now and catch up again with Verena.
And I'm here with Maro Engel, who is P2, starting in the race from a very good position. You already had 2 podiums this season, so hopefully how are you going to do it to see you later on the podium and maybe even pass Mr. Pepper there and hopefully get a victory?
I think it's going to be an exciting race, so we'll just have to see how the race develops, how the track dries up, or if there's another shower coming. So it's going to be an interesting race for sure.
Last year you were fighting so hard. I mean, you really want this title, and this year that's your main goal. You want to snap the title, and is that kind of your goal to be continuing the strength you're showing at the moment and consistency, and hopefully getting a title that way at the end of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'd love to take a win if there's one possible today. But overall, in this championship, you need to always be there, deliver every weekend, and that's our aim.
All right, well, I hope you can deliver full ahead today. So thank you so much, Maro. And we're going to go to P3 because we've got Luca Engsler in P3. And so far, it's his best qualifying. We don't see him at the moment. Yep, there he is in an interview. Let's see how quick he is. Probably they're just starting at the moment, so I don't want to be too rude and just grab him away. But yeah, let's find out how long they're going to be taking. Let me just be a little bit, yeah, let's just see, because we need to grab Luca Engsler, because obviously he is super excited that he's got P3 here. It's a very good qualifying, and they're not having it. So why don't we just try it in a few minutes? Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. At least it's a bit warmer than he was yesterday. He had a big woolly hat on yesterday. He was freezing cold, Luca Engsler. But as you say, his best qualifying of the year, 3rd on the grid. His best ever qualifying was at the Red Bull Ring last year, where he was 2nd on the grid. That man's best ever qualifying was here last year. Max Powell in the Powell Motorsport Lamborghini was on pole position here at Zandvoort. The race didn't quite go according to plan for him, though. So let's see how he gets on from the middle of the grid. And that's where we're heading back now, and back to Verena.
And now, here he is, I've got him, Luca Engsler. So starting from P3 today, we've got pretty tricky conditions here, and you're looking a little skeptical, but I guess in regards to the race, hopefully you've got good spirits.
Yeah, it should be all good. I mean, we had a good qualifying in these conditions. Basically, it's going to dry up in the end, so for sure it's a bit of a stressful hour ahead, but I think that's what we all want and all love.
Yeah, we all want that, of course. But also in regards to tire management, I guess that's going to be a big thing today as well.
Well, in DTM, you don't manage too much. You are flat out from the first to the last second. So about that, I'm thinking then in 2 weeks for Nürburgring and Spa, but here it's flat out from the first to the last lap.
All right, well, Luca, best of luck for the race. Thank you so much. And now let's find out if we can grab the man who's starting in P7. That's Morris Shoring. He's one of the 2 local matadors. He's from Amsterdam, or rather he lives in Amsterdam, which is just about an hour away from Zandvoort. And earlier we were speaking to him, and he just loves this racetrack. And I can just... I don't see him right now, so let me just finish what my thought was right there. So he really loves, obviously, this track because he is from the Netherlands, and he loves the fact that it's right near there he is. Look, see, everything is good. So, hey there, how are you doing?
Yeah, great. Looking forward to the race. I think qualifying was quite good from my side. The team did a good job, so I'm really looking forward to my home race.
You're starting in P7, and obviously as a local matador, you've got so many fans up there probably all supporting you, right?
Yeah, it's a great boost in my back, you know. I just see it as a confidence gain. I don't feel any pressure. I just enjoy it, and it's great to be here.
And also, I mean, usually we love Zandvoort because when the sun is shining, after the race, we can just chill a little bit on the beach, which is just nearby. What do you love most about this track? And also, I mean, it's a little challenging, obviously, with the wind and the sand on the track. But what do you love about it the most?
Well, I think there's many challenges. Like today, the weather is really unpredictable. Maybe we get the sun after the race, like you hope. But there's many challenges, like the elevation. The track is drying quite fast with the wind here. So we need to take care of the tires, and then we see where we end up.
It's going to be an interesting one. Best of luck for your race, starting from P7. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, you can just see all the fans there. They're all really in good spirits, and they're loving it here in Zandvoort. And yeah, so are we. And we're really looking forward to the race. So here you commentators, enjoy.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, great to hear from Morris. His best qualifying so far in DTM, 7th on the grid after picking up his first points in DTM in his second weekend of the championship. Back at the Lausitz ring a couple of weeks ago. Patrick Arkenau, the team manager, is subbing as his race engineer this weekend as well. So no pressure for Morris. His regular engineer is off at Le Mans this weekend. There is the great Bernd Schneider, the 5-time champion, and a man whose record was beaten yesterday because we had qualifying 2 for Sunday yesterday. The car is walking past. There's good timing for you. He's driven by Rennie Rast, and Rennie was the driver that beat his pole position record yesterday, picking up his 26th career pole position. There he is, the 3-time champion, to move 1 ahead of Bernd Schneider. He's got a few to make up to beat Bernd in terms of number of race wins, but he's already 3rd in the list. And the 3-time champion is with his work cut out today because the BMWs do seem to struggle in the greasy, the wet conditions, the cooler conditions. And despite Rennie being on pole position for tomorrow's race after a dry qualifying, and Marco Wittmann being 3rd on the grid after a dry qualifying for tomorrow's race, they're both towards the tail end of the field today. There in the middle of the picture is Martin Tomczyk, the Abt team principal, former DTM champion himself back in 2011. He had 5 podiums around this circuit as well. And as a team manager, picked up his first victory when Ricardo Feller got a win here 2 years ago in 2023 in the Audi. And the sole Audi, no longer, of course, an Abt car, but a Land Motorsport car these days, driven by Ricardo. 4th on the grid for this race. But he's at the back of the grid tomorrow after difficult qualifying and then having picked up a post-qualifying penalty. So he'll be right at the back tomorrow, which means Ricardo needs to make the absolute most of qualifying today. Great to see a big crowd here at Zandvoort packed in despite the weather that we've got. This huge grandstand overlooking the start-finish straight. They'll bound to see some action from there because one of the key overtaking spots is into turn 1. Heavy braking from 260 kilometres an hour down to just 90 kilometres an hour into Tarzan. Nicky Tim there with work to do. He struggled all weekend long. There's Jack Aitken, who is in the middle of the grid for this one, 14th, but he's 2nd on the grid tomorrow after dry qualifying yesterday for Sunday's race. There's Tom Callender, who picked up his first points at the Lausitz ring last time out and has had his best 2 qualifying so far in DTM this weekend. Jules Gounon is up there 2nd in the championship. That's the driver they're all trying to beat, though. Lugiau, the championship leader, 69 points for the Austrian after winning 2 of the first 4 races of the season. Jules Gounon on 63 in 2nd. And Jordan Pepper, who starts on pole position, is the driver 3rd in the championship, picking up 3 points from qualifying on pole position earlier. He's now on 58, so just 11 points between the top 3 in the championship as we get set to go racing for the first time this weekend. Welcome, everybody, to Zandvoort, the third weekend of DTM 2025. Verena Vriet down in the pit lane. I'm Chris Hartley here in the commentary box. Brian Oliver alongside me, and we've got a wet start to the race here. Following a wet qualifying session. The track had just started to dry out a bit, and then we had another shower of rain about 15 minutes before we came on air. But that has now gone away. The track is drying up. There's a bit of breeze here as well, so it's going to be a mixed race, we think, unless more showers come. Let's take a look at the circuit then here at Zandvoort, which started out life as a street track back in the 1930s. A permanent racetrack it became in 1948, and it's one of the drivers' favourites. It has everything. High-speed sections, banking, undulation, quick change of direction. That man loves this place, Marco Wittmann, because last year he had a mega race from 14th on the grid to pick up his 19th career victory in the DTM, 9 years after he'd last won a race in the DTM at this circuit. His car was absolutely falling to bits, as you can see, smoke pouring from it, bodywork flapping from the Schubert BMW, but he never gives up, that man, and he got a victory here. But as I say, further down the grid today, but he's got a chance tomorrow in what will be his 200th race start in the DTM, Marco Wittmann, to maybe pick up another win here, because he'll start tomorrow's race third on the grid. So they can see it's relatively warm. The huge winds that we had yesterday during free practice and qualifying too have died down. It's still a bit breezy. We are, after all, just a stone's throw from the beach and from the North Sea coast. And that wind could help to dry the track up pretty quickly, as it did yesterday. We had lots of overnight rain on Thursday. And then on Friday morning, it dried out very quickly. Here's the grid then, starting from the back. Nicola Bart in the Aston Martin 24th. Fabio Scherer in the Mustang 23rd. Row 11, Arjun Maini starts 22nd. Timo Glock 21st. Marco Wittmann 20th on the grid for this one, with Ben Durr 19th. He's 6th on the grid tomorrow. René Rast on pole tomorrow, but he's 18th here. Ben Green 17th on row 8. Nicky Tim struggling this weekend with the Lamborghini, and Gilles Magnus alongside. Jack Aitken 14th on the grid today, alongside Max Powell. Then it's Thierry Vermeulen 12th. Mirko Bortolotti, the reigning champion, 11th. Tom Callender in the top 10 for the first time. Jules Gounon 2nd in the championship, 9th on row 4. Thomas Preining, the 2023 champion, with his best quality yet, Maurice Skuring. Then it's Lucas Auer, the championship leader, 6th. Anjan Nguyen starting 5th. Ricardo Feller 4th in the sole Audi in the race. Luca Engstler 3rd. Maro Engel 2nd on the grid, looking to repeat his victory here from 2023. He's only had 2 wins in the DTM. One of them was here 2 years ago. And pole position, as we know, Jordan Pepper for the first time in the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini. So the scene is set, Brian Oliver, for an absolutely spectacular race here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, well, if you're thinking back to Lausitzring Race 2, one of the most entertaining races in modern history of DTM, well, this one could surpass that. It has all the makings, including the very changeable weather. We're thinking back to Marcus Wittmann last year, bringing the remnants of that BMW home. This could be even more exciting. Really looking forward to this.
Yeah, an interesting point that was made to me earlier was that the Grasser Racing Team run a couple of Lamborghinis in the GT Masters Championship. They had a wet qualifying not long before DTM wet qualifying this morning. Both free practice sessions and yesterday's qualifying were dry in the end, so maybe they just took a bit of knowledge from that and used it for their 2 drivers who were 1st and 3rd on the grid. For everybody else, really, this morning was complete guesswork, wasn't it?
Absolutely, because it was nothing like we had seen in free practice 1 or free practice 2, and the slippery conditions, the drying track. It was a great qualifying session, but yes, several teams that are running in GT Masters and DTM, definite opportunity to share data, as Bernd Schneider gives the instruction to start your engines.
An absolute legend of motorsport and of the DTM. He never seems to age, that guy, either, does he? Still looks as young as when he was racing himself. The 5-time champion holds aloft the Start Your Engines board on a wet but less wet track as the wind continues to dry out. The rain has stopped for now, looking out the commentary box window. And it's even starting to get a little bit of sunshine trying to break through here. So the grid is cleared. To the left of the picture, Jordan Pepper on pole position for the first time. And just a side note, we've had 99 different winners in the DTM over its 41-year history. So if we get a new race winner today, that will be the 100th different DTM race winner. And that could be Jordan Pepper on pole position.
1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leading car 1, go.
That's the countdown for the formation lap from Sven Stopper in race control, the race director. And this, Brian, is a chance for the drivers, their one chance to just get a bit of a feel for how much grip there may or may not be, even though we're at low speed, but also just maybe try and have a little look if there are any standing areas of standing water still on the circuit.
This is the lap where there would normally be warming tyres, warming brakes, but yes, a chance to explore where the grip is or isn't. In the Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany race this morning, we saw somebody spinning on the formation lap doing that, so the risk is still there, even though we're not running at racing speed.
So, Lucas Auer, Jules Gounon, Jordan Pepper, the top three in the championship, separated by just 11 points. There's 25 points available for a race win, 20 for second, 16 for third, down to a point for 15th place in the other championships. The Rookie of the Year championship, the new championship for this year, is being led by Ben Durr in the McLaren. He's got 128 points. Maurice Skuring, though, could close the gap today. He's got a much better grid. He's second on 99. Tom Callender has also got 99 points. Then in the Manufacturers' Championship, Mercedes have a healthy lead, 140 points. Porsche are second on 94, 46 adrift. BMW next on 87. The best two cars from each brand count in terms of points scored. Winward Racing are leading the Teams Championship. They run the Mercedes, and one of which is driven by Jules Gounon. 111 points, 23 points behind them. Amantai on 88. And then Schubert a third on 84, but have a difficult start to this race potentially. And Schubert lead the pit stop challenge for the fastest. 3 pit stops in each race are given points. 3 for a fastest stop, 2 for second, and 1 for third. So Schubert, Landgraf and Winward are the top 3 in that respect. Mandatory pit stop in the race. 2 mandatory pit stops in tomorrow's race. And there you can see, just coming through the chicane, just off that double curb on the inside, a little splash of water, some standing water there, because this circuit has lots more undulations than even you see on the TV pictures. So some areas where, when there's been a lot of rain, that water does collect. So they're coming into turn 13. They're about to come into turn 14. This spectacular banked section, 18 degrees, when the circuit was redeveloped in 2020 to once again become a Grand Prix circuit, having not held a Grand Prix since the mid-1980s. Wet tyres for now. I look out of the commentary box window, I see sunshine. This could be a nightmare for the race engineers. Here we go then, the rolling start about to get underway with 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. Chris Hartley and Brian Oliver in the commentary box then to talk you through this third weekend of the season. This is round 5 of DTM 2025 with Jordan Pepper leading them round on pole position, ready for the lights to go out, which they do now from red to green. It's a good start for Pepper. It's a good start for Engstler as well. He's going to try and get up the inside of the Mercedes of Maro Engel for second place here to make it a Grasser 1-2. He's got the inside line, but Maro might be able to stick with him around the outside. I think Lucas closed the door though, so it's a Lamborghini 1-2. A great start for Gouin as well. He pounces, and so too does the Land Audi of Ricardo Feller. At least he tries to. You're on board with him now, trying to go around the outside of this banked corner. Maro Engel sends him wide. He understeers, goes deep into the corner, but he lost that extra place to the Porsche of Gouin just because he got off the throttle. He had to get off the throttle because Engstler had stolen his line. So they're still absolutely tied together as they come up the hill now through to turn 5 and into turn 6, the spectacular Slottermacher corner. Down on the brakes into this downhill section through turn 7, having approached it over a blind crest at something like 230 kilometres an hour. It's a great start then for Jordan Pepper. He leads the way from his first pole position. He's already been on the front row of the grid twice at Oschersleben, so he's been a qualifying star this year. But there's this battle for second place going on with Gouin, having a look at the Porsche up the inside of Engstler. Engel is just about held on to 4th place from Feller. Auer, the championship leader, is 6th. Skuring is all over the back of him, though, isn't he? That orange Porsche. And right with him is his teammate, the 2023 champion in the Grello, the yellow and green Porsche, Thomas Priding. 2 BMWs side by side. How do they fit? Because they're massive cars, those M4s. It's Ras that's going to get there first in this battle. They're squabbling over 14th place. He whacks the curb, though, and Marco Wittmann and Ben Green are all over the back of him. Marco on board with him now in the BMW, and just to the side of him in the red and black Ferrari is Ben Green, the British driver, trying to come through, and he's going to split the BMWs here. I think up the inside he goes. Bit of contact between Green and Wittmann. Wittmann won't like that, and he now comes back at him as they go into this banking section, still flat out in the wet conditions. And at the end of lap 1, it's Jordan Pepper that leads by nearly a second from his teammate Luca Engstler. 3rd is Gouin, 4th is Maro Engel, 5th is Feller, 6th is Auer, and then it's Skuring, Priding, Gounon and Bortolotti rounding out the top 10.
Great start from Jordan Pepper, did exactly what he needed to do, and congratulations to all the drivers making it round that first lap in tricky conditions. You can see from the graphic, we've got a mixture of tyre strategies. The leading slick runner at the moment, Jules Magnus, down in 13th place, and we got a car in already, Tom Callender. So he's making a change onto slick tyres by the looks of things.
He is, yeah, with the yellow sidewall on. Brave decision, but Tom Callender, the 17-year-old, is going to give it a go, and the team will see what happens with that, because Lucas Auer is the other driver. He's the championship leader, so in a sense, Tom is the guinea pig here, and the champion will decide what to do based on what happens over the next few laps. And everybody will be watching Tom Callender's lap times, which are surely going to be a lot slower to begin with on those slick tyres. But there'll be a point, unless it rains again, at which point the slick tyre has the crossover, and that becomes the better tyre. And as soon as that happens, they're all going to dive into the pits.
Needs to give the place back. He nearly pushed me off the track with contact.
So Maro Engel making the team, but also, incidentally, race control, know what he feels about that. So is he talking about Engstler or Guan, I suppose, is the question now. I get the sense it's probably Engstler, isn't it?
I mean, that is under investigation, so I think it is. It says that Engstler and Maro Engel are under investigation by race control for incident on lap 1, so I think it is.
Yeah, I think Ianji just sort of snuck past when he got delayed in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was just the winner of those two getting together. Going to be really interesting to see the lap times of the slick runners. Could it be that Max Powell, Nicky Tim, and Nicola Bart down in 21st, 22nd and 23rd have pulled a bit of a blinder here? We're going to be really interested. And, of course, Jules Magnus in 13th. On the slick tyres, and with Tom Callender coming in, I can see the sun shining out of the window. Is it possible that switching to slick tyres early or being on slick tyres at the start could be a bit of a masterstroke?
So Magnus in the number 7 Aston Martin, the only one that started the race on the slick tyres. The other 3 went in and they're a lap down now because they changed tyres in the pits. So Magnus is holding his own, that's for sure, running there in 13th place. Looking back at the Aston Martin now, Rennie Rast is behind him. Just ahead of him is Jack Aitken, so he's in good company. In fact, he's splitting the front row drivers from tomorrow's race. And just to recap, that qualifying for tomorrow's race happened yesterday afternoon. It's because it's Le Mans next weekend, and it's Le Mans testing tomorrow, and Jack Aitken and Jules Gounon being given special dispensation to go over to Le Mans. At the end of this race, they'll go via private jet to Le Mans, do the testing tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock or so. They'll head back here on a private jet, which means that the race is later than normal at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow rather than 1:30 p.m. And it means that because they wouldn't have been able to make qualifying, they switched qualifying back to Friday afternoon. So Quali 2 actually happened before Quali 1. So that's just to recap the story. Rennie Rast also racing in the BMW hypercar at Le Mans, but he's opted not to go and do the test. None of them have to. Rules state that you only have to go and do the test if you haven't raced since 2020, but all 3 of them have. So over the line goes Jordan Pepper, and he's absolutely charging. You can see lots of drivers here, Brian, are moving across to the inside of the circuit near the pit wall on the start-finish line. And what they're trying to do is find wet tarmac to try and keep the tyres from overheating.
I'm looking at the timing screen, and the wet weather runners are quicker than the drivers on slicks at the moment. The slicks are not looking to be that much quicker. We've got about a 10-second per lap difference between Max Powell and the cars at the front of the field. So it doesn't look like the slick tyre is the choice at the moment. But as you say, keeping them cool is critical, because once you're on a dry track, those wet weather tyres will be torn apart really quickly.
Yeah, the graphic that we had said that Magnus is on a wet tyre as well, and if he is, he's doing a great job, isn't he, to be still in 13th place. His team radio.
You seem to be quicker than Powell. Try to take your opportunities.
Words of encouragement for the Viking, who's had a real nightmare so far this weekend, dry or wet. He struggled with the car. There is confirmation that no further action in that incident between Maro Engel and Luca Engstler. Luca will be pleased, Maro will not.
Not the best start for Maro Engel. He started on the front row, of course, and it wasn't a great first lap for him, but he'll fight his way back. He has to play the long game. Great view. If you never sat in the grandstands at a DTM event, well, A, you've missed out, and B, this is what you missed out on. As we look down from the Tarzan corner at that first lap, the first corner, everybody making it around. Very banked turn 1, that is. A lot more banked than you realise looking at the pictures.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? There's several bank turns here, several turns with big cambers as well, inward cambers. Looking back here, there's a Ferrari getting very close. Thierry Vermeulen just giving a little tap on the shoulder. He's running in 10th place, so he's made a couple of places off the start. This is how it looked on board with Thierry. Spoke to Thierry after qualifying, and he said the Ferrari was okay when it was really wet at the start of qualifying, but as it dried out, as it got greasier, we all struggled with the Ferrari. And there is the contact between Maro Engel into turn 3 on lap 1 and on board with Ricardo Fellow, whose eyes widened there to the whites of his eyes. Maro just completely understeered, and he was in the wrong place there, wasn't he, Ricardo Fellow, which resulted in a bit of contact, but both are okay. Running 4th for Engel and 5th for Fellow, both winners here in 2023. But the race leader, Brian, 2.5 seconds up the road now.
Yeah, Jordan Pepper taking this by the scruff of the neck. I was going to say for Ricardo Fellow, don't damage the car, please. That's a museum piece, collector's edition. Great stuff for GRT Grasser, 1st and 2nd. But Jordan Pepper, 2.4. Now make that 2.552 to the good of his teammate Luca Engster. Anchengun, though, looking pretty punchy in 3rd place. He was about 3/10 behind on the previous lap when they crossed the line, but he's certainly not out of reach of Luca Engster.
And we get to the point where those on slick tyres are more or less matching those on dry tyres now, aren't we? And you can see there's hardly any spray coming off. I mean, if you go off the racing line, you're in trouble still. So that's the problem. If you want to overtake anybody, you've got to go off the racing line normally. And to do that, you're going to go into slippery, damp tarmac. But actually on the racing line, it's pretty much drying out now. So dry line forming, the slicks getting ever closer to the times of those on the wet tyres. And although the sun has gone back in after a brief appearance, it doesn't look like there's any threat of rain at the moment, although there still could be some showers during the course of this race. But there you can see to the left of the picture, pretty dry circuit. And there, René Rast back in 13th place at the moment, has made a bit of progress. Tomorrow's pole sitter, Marco Wittmann, sorry, they're 14th and 15th. Here we're looking at Nicky Tim, struggling to keep up with Max Powell. This pair are back in 21st and 22nd. Bearing in mind Max was on pole here last year, getting a big amount of understeer there, and having to correct it was Nicky Tim as he made his way into the penultimate corner at turn 13. They go flat out through the bank section at over 200 kilometres an hour. And by the time they hit the brakes at the end of this straight, they'll be well over 250 kilometres an hour. But there, Brian, pretty much a wide dry line now on the start-finish straight.
And those that have started on wet weather tyres will now be thinking, right, we just got to last till the first pit window, to the pit window. There's only one on the Saturday, isn't there? So we've just got to last till the pit window opens. Then we can come in, we can do a tyre change, and we're not going to lose place on the track. Those that are on the slick tyres will be hoping desperately that the pit window, well, those that won't make it to the pit window, their wet weather tyres would fall apart before they get there.
Yeah, so you don't want to come in, change tyres, and then have to come in again. Here's calendar.
We need to push now. Slicks are getting quicker than the wets. Paul and Timo on slicks, they're quicker than the wets now. Let's go.
So there you go. The crossover has happened. There's confirmation.
Yeah.
Tom, you're on the right tyre. You're on the dry tyre, and we've got a new fastest lap of the race to somebody else on a dry tyre, Max Powell, 1 minute 40.6.
Which is very quick, because the last lap from the race leader was a 1:42.689. So suddenly Max Powell is 2 seconds a lap quicker. Nicky Tim also in the 140s. Tom Callender in the 140s as well. So now suddenly we're in slick territory. So we've got just a few minutes before the pit window opens. This is the opportunity for the cars that are on slicks to try and make up some ground.
Yeah, so Pepper continuing to be better than anybody else on the wets at the moment. He's gaps out to 3.5 seconds. His last lap was a 1:42.4. It's 4/10 quicker than Luca Engster in second.
We need to survive 10 minutes. We need to survive 10 minutes, and then we'll be slicks. The slicks are already faster.
That pit window, they're all going to be in the first minute, aren't
Yes.
they? The rest of it's going to be deadly quiet, I think.
We got 9 minutes that the wet weather runners are going to have to last. Having said that, the sun's gone in, it's clouded over. It might all change in 9 minutes here. But yes, just hold on. And there's a car with a, looks like a puncture.
Timo Glock.
Timo Glock. You saw the rubber flying off, but a puncture. And the tyre has parted company with the wheel.
Great reactions.
Big damage
How
as well.
did he hold on to that at 230 kilometres an hour? That's exactly the same spot where in free practice 2, Jordan Pepper, the man that leads today's race, had a big puncture as well at 230 kilometres an hour and was speared into the gravel. But Timo kept it out of the gravel just as well, because they had big pebbles in the gravel traps here. Jordan told me that yesterday. Then Brian and I walked around the track last night and confirmed it.
information, only the BMWs in front are farthest on the whole track. Just pushed me off the track. Car is not.
So pushed me off the track, Timo was saying. So maybe that was contact that caused that.
It's got damage, isn't it, in the front? So there's certainly been something more than just the puncture. Let's have a look here, see what happened.
So alongside the Aston Martin. Oh, yeah, there was the contact. Oof. Destroyed the advertising hoarding. A wheel through the gravel at turn 7, over the mud. Great save. Absolutely fantastic save. 3 wheels, and he still just about keeps it pointing in the right direction. That's skill for you.
Yeah, but it's drifting going on there. That's the view from Marco Wittmann. He could see that happening, didn't back out of it, but yeah, that little bit of contact with the Aston Martin, and good job just keeping it all together, keeping out the barrier, but that was a wild moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was the Aston Martin of Gilles Magnus which got delayed in all of that, so Wittmann and Scherer both got ahead, and Rast as well, so Rast up to 13th, Wittmann 14th. Scherer up into the points. He's looking for his first point this year. There's only 3 drivers yet to score a point in the championship, and Fabio is one of them. Right, Ben Green coming into the pits, or going back out of the pits, it looks like. So he's not waited for the pit window. The incident that we just saw is under investigation, and Ben Green now heading back out. Yesterday we had a qualifying session which started a little bit drizzly and damp, and 3 drivers, one of which was Ben Green, one was Ricardo Feller, went out early, and Ben even went out on a wet tyre, hoping that more rain would come and then end up being the top 3 in qualifying 2 for tomorrow's race, but the rain never came, so it's just been a case of not quite having the luck with the judgment calls so far for Ben, and he's certainly not the only one.
Max Powell is putting in purple sector after purple sector. He is by far the quickest man on the track. You get the feeling when the pit window opens in 6.25 minutes, he's going to be staying out late to try and do the undercut on all the cars in front of him. Let's hear from Team Radio.
Can you make a move on our? Can you make a move?
Yes.
Yes! That's positivity, if ever you heard.
It might be the championship leader, but yes, I can.
Of course I can, I'm a driver.
I was kind of backed up by the Audi of Feller, isn't he? So this is a squabble for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th all together. Riding in that battle as well. The fastest lap of the race is now Max Powell, taking it over from Tom Callender, a 1:37.3. The leader's doing a 1:42.2. So the slicks are now 5 seconds a lap quicker. Here comes Thomas Priding. This is going to be brave on the run up through the left-hander at turn 5 ahead of Schuring. So the team leader, the 2023 champion, takes the initiative here, moves himself up ahead of the Dutch driver into 7th place, and now he's going to target Lucas Auer, and he's flying after him as well, isn't he? So Priding looking really razor sharp on these wet tyres. In the context of those on the tyres, he's looking the quicker of the group at the moment, and it's all over the back of Lucas Auer as they make their way out through turns 8 and 9 into the left at turn 10, and he might maybe have an opportunity up at the next corner and might not have to wait that long because he's already on the gas, he's already alongside the 2 Austrians side by side. It's going to be a right-hander coming up, so Priding, he's got his nose in front, but Auer will not give this position up easily. Auer will have the inside line. If they go through into the left part, then Priding will have the inside line. That's exactly what happened. You look back at the action now from the car ahead of Feller. Fantastic battle. Priding gets ahead. Auer has to close the door to stop Schuring doing the same, and Schuring's got to be careful because right behind him is Jules Kuhn on a fantastic 5-way scrap.
Thomas Priding said to Maurice Schuring, hold my drink. This is how it's done. Follow me. So that was great from Thomas Priding. Saw Maurice Schuring trying to make the move on turn 3. Took a different line to Lucas Auer. Couldn't make it stick. Thomas Priding took advantage of that. Still Maurice Schuring trying to find a route past, but now Priding goes deep into the corner. Picks it all up again, but now Ricardo Feller, the driver coming out on top in that fight at the moment. But Thomas Priding putting the pressure onto the Audi up high into turn 3. Feller takes the line up nice and high to try and block, but it's a drag race out of turn 3 towards turns 4 and 5, flat out, and it's going to be advantage Thomas Priding. He finds his route past Ricardo Feller. That is for 5th place.
And incident between Vermeulen and Bortolotti under investigation. And Vermeulen has dropped 2 places down to 12th as we drop down to Verena in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Rainer Dörr. Let's speak about Timo Glock, because unfortunately there was an incident, we think, with an Aston Martin. And looking at the car now, obviously it doesn't look very good, and Timo had to end the race. So I guess that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, the car looks not so good in the moment, but I don't know what was the issue. We must later look in the video, but in the moment we cannot say what was the Aston Martin, or I don't know. Yeah.
We just saw Timo Glock getting out of the car, and his gesture was just, he's very upset.
Yeah, he was in the race, but yeah, it's racing, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you very much, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. That's Ryan Durr, the team principal at Durr Motorsport that run the McLarens. Timo Glock sadly out of the race. Priding flying, isn't he, having got past Hour up to 6th place.
We have to change position with 69. We have to change position with Vermeulen. Vermeulen is 2 cars behind you. 2 cars behind you. Get now quick.
Yeah, so that was the incident under investigation. We didn't see what it was, but we saw that Bortolotti had gained a couple of places, or a place, and Vermeulen had lost 2 in the end. And there was the contact. The Ferrari on the outside, the Lamborghini on the inside. Did well to keep it off the grass, and then that's where Borto gets him. I think he lost another place after that to Rast as well, potentially. But Bortolotti is going to have to give the place back. Now, Bortolotti has already done that, looking at the timing screen. But in doing so, he's had to let Rast through as well, who was in between them. So really frustrating for the defending champion. He's had to give 2 places back, so he's down to 12th place now, the Italian.
New fastest lap, Tom Callender, who is, last time around, was 6 seconds quicker than race leader Jordan Pepper. So the car currently running in last place. Tom Callender, quickest man on the track and closing.
Yeah, Tom Callender can put that on his CV, can't he? So, 3-time champion, Rennie Rast. Yeah, 6 seconds a lap quicker than him at Zandvoort. No problem. Might be something to do with the tyres, but Tom's still going well, isn't he? And he's had to keep the car on the road in those early stages of running on the slick, where it would have been a bit sketchy. Fella is still keeping Hour behind him. Hour is still keeping Skewering behind him. They've all lost places to Priding. And then look who's coming in the background. It's a big blue BMW M4 driven by 3-time champion and pole position record holder René Rast, who looks quicker than the lot of them. Priding versus Engel now. Priding has caught up to the number 24 Mercedes. This is the battle for 4th place, and he is all over him now. So the race leader Jordan Pepper has gone through. Luca Engstler is in 2nd place. 3rd is Guen. 4th and 5th of these 2. Engel goes into the pit lane though. He's had enough, and he's diving now to change tyres with the pit window open. And Priding goes on through. Rastler right at the tail of Jules Gounon as they go underneath the camera, but he can't find a way past into turn 1.
Pit window doesn't open for another minute, though, does it? And there is now rain in the air. I'm looking out the window. I can see rain coming down just as the pit window is imminent, about 35 seconds away. So suddenly, all these wet weather runners waiting for the pit window. Now, Mara Engel has just driven through, coming out. I wonder if there was a miscommunication. He hasn't received a penalty. I wonder if he came into the pits thinking the pit window is open, thinking it was 2024, when in fact the pit window is 5 minutes later this year.
Yeah, he's got about 40 seconds too early, wasn't he? So
that's a disaster for Mara Engel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I thought maybe there's going to be an issue there, or a drive-through penalty, but there's nothing on the screen. So straight back out. He's going to have to do it again. That's totally compromised his race and gifted 4th position to Thomas Priding. Ricardo Fella up to 5th. Lucas Hour up to 6th. Skewering up to 7th. Gounon will be up to 8th. Rast up to 9th. And Thierry Vermeulen will be up into the top 10. Here, though, is a much closer battle than we've seen for a while. Gounon is making those wearing wet tyres work for him. He's closed up to Engstler. There's only 0.2 of a second between the Lamborghini of number 19, Luca Engstler, and the number 90 bright green Porsche of Ionjan Gounon, who are squabbling over 2nd place. Coming through shot as the blue Lambo of Max Powell, who we know is on the slick tyre. He's up to 14th place at the moment, and he's like 4 seconds a lap quicker than the cars ahead of him. Next target, Marco Wittmann.
This is a nightmare scenario for the teams because the pit window is just open. Now they don't know what tyre they're going to be putting on the car because the rain is starting to fall again. You can see the advantage that Max Powell has. He'd be quite happy if it rains. Well, decision made. I should think the wet weather tyres are shot, and Ionjan Gounon having to get past Luca Engstler in a hurry as he peeled off into the pit box. But they're all coming in now, so this is the opportunity for the cars on slicks to stay out and try and make up some ground.
Yeah, they will still have to come in and make their mandatory pit stop, but they'll be free of cars holding them up for a few laps now. Potentially. Lots of wheel spin away, and one of the mechanics falling over there from Schubert, one of the best pit stops side by side here with the Aston Martin coming in, and Jules Gounon trying to get back out. Skewering is having to find a way to the queue as well. Contact between him and Ben Green, is it, I think, in the Ferrari. So it's carnage down there. Everybody coming in at the same time. Contact, people falling over. A real scramble there, and that Aston Martin in trouble as well, isn't it? And that's taken a while. It's the number 7 Gilles Magnus car. Wet tyres going off. Vermeulen for the top 10 has had a spin. Had a spinning quali this morning. He's pointing inwards. On board with him now, trying to get it fired up and pointed in the right direction. But he's pointed right into the curve. That's on the exit to Tarzan at turn 1. He's on the slick tyre like they all are, but he's found out that on a cold slick tyre, you've got to be very, very careful with 550 brake horsepower and little grip.
We saw that incident in the pits. I think Luca Engstler may have clipped the mechanic in the pits from another team. I'm not entirely sure. We need to see a replay of that. But it was chaos, wasn't it? And everybody just rushing. The pit lane here at Circuit Zandvoort is very narrow. And, of course, no tyre warmers allowed. So coming out on cold tyres. And there you go. And, under investigation, that is Luca Engstler for an unsafe release and potentially making contact with another mechanic.
Pepper didn't come in, I don't think, looking at the screen, did he? So Pepper has stayed out.
He didn't.
He's leading by nearly 13 seconds. Max Powell is up to second place, but he's still got to make his pit stop. Thomas Preining has just come in. Ricardo Feller has just come in. There is Preining leaving the pit box now. In comes Arjun Maini, just in time. Out goes Marco Wittmann. It's so slippy, even on the exit to the pit box, isn't it? Into the pit lane apron as they unleash the power. Even under the pit lane speed limiter, they have to be super careful because they'll easily lose the back end of those cars. Just wheel spinning away, no traction. It's like trying to go ice skating in a pair of high heels. There's absolutely nothing pushing you forwards.
Not that I've ever tried. So Jordan Pepper yet to come in, but you can see the rain on the camera lens. Some wild pit stops, a lot of replays to be had there. Now Marco Wittmann just getting things up to temperature. There's Jules Gounon, Lugi, René Rast one side, Lugi the other, up high into turn 3, but Marco Wittmann trying to get everything back up to speed as well. Max Powell will be staying out late because he doesn't need to come in a hurry, but the rain is now coming down properly. Looking out the window, it might be those that are on the slicks are going to be able to come in for wets when everybody else is on slicks.
Yes, and Max Powell, it depends how long this is going to last, because if it is going to become seriously wet, this shower, then Powell could be in a really good position here because he's still got to make his mandatory stop. He'll come in, he maybe then will change to the wets, and everybody else on the slicks will have to come in for another pit stop and do exactly the same. But if it goes away and dries, who knows? Who knows? Slicks is the call for Jordan Pepper, though, from the race lead. Brand new slick tyres going on. Rears are changed first, then fronts. Only 6 can work on the car, only 4 can change the wheels. Away goes Pepper. Looked like a pretty decent stop under the circumstances for the Grasser Racing team. It was, what was it, 13? No, it wasn't 13 seconds stationary time. It was slower than it looked. So that's going to be trouble for him. He's ended up losing about 6 seconds to some of them around there. Even in these conditions, we've had 6.7, 7.5 second pit stops. The quickest pit stop for Maro Engel, but of course he had the extra run into the pits, didn't he?
I'm looking out the window. It's properly raining at the moment. You can see here comes Ben Green, windscreen wipers going. A penalty lap 3 times for Jules Gounon for an unsafe release from the pits. That's going to sting. So he's in 11th at the moment. That's going to be the equivalent to adding about 15 seconds onto his lap time. That's a disaster for Jules Gounon.
Yeah, that was when he was released side by side with the Ferrari, wasn't he? Yeah. There was contact. So that has been frowned upon by the officials. So Powell picks up the lead, Tim second, Aitken third, Bart in the Aston Martin fourth, and then Ben Durr in the McLaren fifth. Well, they'll all move up. So Powell, Tim, Aitken, Bart, and then Durr. And then they've all got to make their pit stop still. But Jordan Pepper, the driver that's made now his pit stop later than everybody else, so he braved it out a bit longer on the wet tyre. But as that filtered him back into a good position, it wasn't helped by the pit stop, which wasn't a great pit stop stationary time from the team. It didn't look that bad to the eye, but they obviously got delayed somewhere. And he's just coming out of turn 10 now. He's behind Arjen Gouwen, so Gouwen is ahead of him, but he's in front of Preining. Then fourth in the queue of those that have been in is Gounon, but he's got to make his stop. Engstler versus Preining is the next battle. Lamborghini just ahead of Porsche. Just behind them is Gounon. You can see their windscreen wipers are now on. Gounon has got to have 3 runs through the penalty box, though. That number 48 yellow and green Mercedes. So here he goes. He's going to drop out of the equation and will be overtaken by Auer, by Rast, by Feller.
I said the same, but there's nothing we can do. We have to serve it this lap already.
French Andorra not happy with that decision. I hit the brakes. What am I supposed to do, he says. And the team said we argued that as well, but to no avail.
Okay, I don't want to keep going on about the weather, but it is raining really hard at our commentary position now. You can see it coming down.
Oh, he's skewering, whipping around the outside of Jules Gounon. It doesn't matter if he doesn't get past him, to be honest, because Gounon's got to go in the penalty box again, hasn't he, once he gets to turn 12. But he does get past him, and that gives him a bit of a buffer back then to the Audi of Ricardo Fella.
Wow, we've still got another 12 minutes in the pit window for those that haven't stopped to come in. So Jules Gounon, well, he's fighting, but he's going to drop all the way back down. But now Rene Rast and Thomas Preining running side by side. So Rene Rast marching forward in the BMW. Just ahead of them is Lucas Auer. So Lucas Auer getting in front. Thomas Preining having dropped down a little way there.
Just looking at the pit stops, Durr has been in to the pits, and he is in 5th place. But was that his mandatory pit stop? We didn't see him come in, did we? Just looking at the screen, it's showing that Gounon is the leading pit stopper. He's in 7th place at the moment as Bortolotti versus Wittmann on board with the Lamborghini. Wittmann couldn't quite sneak through there in the big BMW M4, but he's trying still not that grippy, is it, out there for the drivers, even though that rain's just eased up a little bit in the last minute or so. They're going to be very tentative on those slick tyres.
So I'm looking at the last lap times from cars, and still Max Powell, in fact Nicky Tim in 2nd place at 1:43 last time around, so he was the quickest man on the track, comparing to some that are in the 46s and the 47s, 48s. And so still very much trying to decide what to do with the tyres. Just stay out there, find out what the weather's doing, and then come in when we've got a clearer picture.
Well, last year, admittedly a dry race, but the total pit stop time is about 29 seconds, and Max Powell is 49 seconds clear of Gounon as Rast goes straight on and into the barriers. The 3-time champion understeering off the road at turn 1. He's off, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to get out of that and get going again.
You've got to get up pretty early in the morning to see that from Rene Rast. You saw him on the wide outside, just getting it slippery, under braking, went straight on. Meanwhile, Jules Gounon now coming in for his mandatory stop, but potentially any meaningful points today are now gone.
So the answer to the question is Durr hasn't been in yet for a mandatory. Powell, Tim, Aitken, Bart and Durr leading 5. Well, there's a handy bit of tarmac there, isn't there? So hear the sound of the gravel being dispersed. Just gravel everywhere. At least most of it is going to be pitched off before he gets back onto the actual racing track. Just in front of the Aston Martin of Gilles Magnus, who gets past promptly. Or does he? Because Rene Rast a bit fired up now after all of that, trying to hold on to it. Don't worry, a battered BMW can win a race here at Zandvoort. Just ask your teammate Marco Wittmann after last year. Right. So from the lead with slick tyres going back on. So their information is obviously that this is just a shower, a passing shower. Don't worry about putting wets on. I only want to stop once. Max Powell, he's going to brave it out on slick tyres. It is brightening up again, isn't it, looking out the window of the commentary box?
It is, and there is still a dry line along the pit straight, so it seems like the right thing to be doing. So the question is, where is he going to be in relation to Aitken Gounon?
Temperatures and water pressure.
So Aitken Gounon currently heading in towards turn 1. Max Powell coming out of the pit lane. So he's certainly made a fair jump up the field. Obviously, the team on the radio to Rene Rast, making sure that he's not going to damage that car any further by keeping on going. Remember, that's the car that's going to be starting on pole position tomorrow.
Jules Gounon looks a tiny bit fired up to me as he charges past the Aston Martin of Gilles Magnus after his 3 visits to the penalty box. Remember, 2nd in the championship. So Tim now leads, but has got to make his pit stop. There's yet another visit to the penalty box. I think that's the 3rd one now, isn't it, for Gounon? Aitken is promoted up to 2nd after Max Powell's stop, but he has got to make his mandatory stop. Nicolas Bart is 3rd. Ben Durr is 4th, but they've got to make their pit stops. Ben Green is going to be 5th. He has made a pit stop, but it wasn't a mandatory pit stop. So Gounon is effectively the leader of the race in the Porsche, looking for his 2nd win in the DTM. Then it's Engstler, then it's Schuring, and then Pepper has just dropped behind Engstler and Schuring. So Pepper, I think, has had a moment somewhere. Yeah, he just lost about a second on that last lap. Here he is, and he's now under threat from the Porsche of Thomas Preining.
I think Max Powell might have something to say about Aitken Gounon leading the race, because he's come out. He has, at the moment, stayed in front of him, but now the 2 cars are running side by side. Aitken Gounon finally gets through, but Max Powell, by staying on those slick tyres for as long as he did, He has pulled a bit of a masterstroke there, hasn't he?
He's put himself in the mix, hasn't he? He's a net second place. He's still trying to get the tyres up to temperature. It's hard enough when they're dry, isn't it? Never mind when the track is greasy. But there's a big gap back, isn't there? So I think he should be a net second. I mean, look how much time he's lost already to Guan. He already got past him, what, 5 seconds ago. He's already about 6 seconds clear. So that's how difficult it is to warm up the tyres.
Nicky, you're doing a good job. We are virtually P1.
Virtually meaning you are P1, but you've got to make your mandatory stop. But again, how far is he clear of Guan? He's 47 seconds up the road, so he should be able to get out in front of him. And then it's just a case of, can he hold on to that, hold on to the tyres and keep him at bay. But Nicky Tim, whatever happens, unless they have a disaster in the pitch, he's going to be right up there as well, isn't he? Somewhere hunting for a podium.
He's been looking subdued all weekend, and now suddenly it may be that the weather is going to favour the Viking, and he's put it to good effect, those tyres, doing what was right, being on the right tyre at the right time, and that is the trick, isn't it? So out of 14 he comes. Is he going to peel off on this occasion? No, he's not. So still making up as much space as he can, going like the proverbial clappers. Of course, Jack Aitken up into second place, Nicola Bart up into third, Ben Dorr in fourth, and Ben Green in fifth. But of course, they've all yet to make a stop.
That pit stop really cost Jordan Pepper, didn't it? Because he is now a net, sixth, having led the race. Maybe also staying out that little bit longer didn't help him. Actually, the time, looking at the timing screen, was 13 seconds. So he lost about 6 seconds in that pit stop. And what did he have? About a 3-second lead, didn't he, before that? But so I think he did lose some of it in the pits, but he also lost some of it by maybe staying out that extra lap on the tyres, on the wet tyres. Tom Callender, by the way, was the one that came in early to swap to the slick tyres. He's kind of stalemate for him, isn't it? He's 11th at the moment. He started 10th. He might be back into the top 10 once the pit stops sort themselves out. Ben Durr, then, where's he going to come out in all of this? He has now made his mandatory stop. That's a Ferrari stationary.
Vermeulen? No, Vermeulen. Yeah, it is Vermeulen. Yeah. So Vermeulen stationary out, it's turn 5, isn't it? Between 5 and 6.
Like a tech error, doesn't it, that? Rather than he's held off, it looks like something's gone wrong with the car.
Nightmare home race for Thierry. He had that moment, obviously, coming out of the pits, which saw him collect the fence, and now stationary there. Now, this is going to, if he can't get it going, this has got to bring out a full course yellow, because you can't leave that there. He's on the team radio.
Pull the clutch manually and try to shift again.
Nothing is working.
Is it possible to put it in neutral?
No, I already tried. Nothing is working.
Stuck. Stranded up the hill, a very quick part of the circuit. So as you say, he's in a very precarious position on the run up to that fabulous right-hander at Slottermacher, named after the former Le Mans and Formula 1 driver Rob Slottermacher. He also raced drove in the Steve McQueen Le Mans film as one of the stunt drivers in that film as well. That's the corner named after him. As Nicky Tim now comes in, the Ben Durr came out behind Maro Engel, so he hasn't really made up too much, Ben Durr. That looked like a fairly tidy stop. Not bad, 8.7 seconds from Abt. So it's really quite reasonable to expect them to be a bit slower given the conditions. But Nicky is now coming out of the pit lane. It's going to seem like forever. The Aston Martin flashing into shot just behind him. There's a massive gap back then, though, to Guan, isn't there? So is he going to get the lead of the race here? Potentially. By the end of the lap, that gap will come right down. But he might have just about enough in hand here, Brian, even though he's getting his tyres up to temperature, to fend off that man who is the leading pit stopper, Aintken Guan.
He's going to be weaving like mad to try and generate some heat into the tyres, and Aintken Guan will be giving it everything because he knows that Nicky Tim, this is the point where he's going to be at his most vulnerable on this next lap. But has Nicky Tim done enough to have jumped to the lead of this race? Max Powell still doing very well. He's in third place at the moment. Maurice Scheuring into fourth place once all the pit stops are done and dusted.
Yeah, then Engsler, and then you've got Aitken is coming as well late in the pit stop. So that Ferrari is going to filter back out in the order somewhere.
Catching him. He's catching him.
There
he is.
He's more than half the gap, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And, you know, normally the dry, they absolutely fly after them on cold tyres, but it's even more exaggerated in these conditions. Look, Nicky weaving around. If he can get a win out of this, if he can get a podium out of this, if he could get a top 6 out of this, he'd be delighted, because the weekend has been a nightmare so far, but he's got a real, genuine chance of a podium. maybe even a race win here. So Nicky Tim now has this big green monster flashing its lights right in his mirrors. Ian Nguyen knows it's now or never potentially to try and get past the Lamborghini. This for the race lead here with 18 minutes plus a lap still to go in the race. Thundering over the line is Nicky Tim. Ian Nguyen, it looks like he's going to commit to a move, but has he got the gap? No. He goes left, he goes right again. Looks to the inside. Nicky Tim closes the door, brakes as late as he dares. His tyres now more or less up to temperature. He's a bit wide onto the curb zone coming out of turn 1. Ian Nguyen might have a chance into turn 3. The banked hairpin, if he can get close enough, he can't get close enough. So now really his next half chance will be up at turn 8. But he's got a really good run coming up the hill. Much better traction. This is going to be brave, and he goes through at turn 5. Fantastic, but yellow flags there where Thierry Vermeulen's Ferrari was parked. So they might look at that, but Nguyen through.
Wow, well, he knew it was a now or never, but as you say, they went past that full tilt past Thierry Vermeulen's car. So we'll keep an eye on whether there's anything coming from that. But Nicky Tim did everything that he possibly could to keep that car behind him. The most defensive he could possibly be. But Ian Nguyen knew he had to strike while the iron was hot.
Yeah, Magnus there lapped in the Aston Martin, staying out of their way. There is the blue Lambo of Max Powell. Oh, a right rear puncture for Thomas Preining. We've had, what, 4 punctures this weekend? And that's the first for Preining. So would you believe it? He's going to retire the car. The man went 35 races without not finishing in the points. Miney's retiring as well. And now he's had back-to-back non-finishes, Thomas Preining, after going 2.5 years without a non-finish and with every finish being in the points. A record for Thomas Preining, but now 2 real frustrating ends to races. White as it's ring. And one here off again for René Rast. Straight on. Maybe suffering with some damage from the car from earlier, but he's understeered again, and this time it's at turn 8 rather than turn 1. He's trying desperately to get it out of the barrier, but he might be stuck this time. And
bits falling off it, isn't there? So
bits falling off. So has that affected the tyres? That's that front bodywork from the earlier accident rubbing on the front left. Can't help, can it?
I think the team are going to have a late night tonight. That's the car that's got to start on pole position tomorrow. I reckon we're going to get a full course yellow here because we've now got 2 cars stranded.
Are you able to continue?
I don't think so.
No, he's done and out. So nightmare for René, who'd had back-to-back podiums at the Lausitz Ring. Pole position tomorrow, all looking like a title charge might be back on. But it has been a cruel day for René Rast. He was going really well in the first part of the race as well, wasn't he? On the wet tyre when it was on a greasy track. He was flying. He was one of the quickest out there. Through the pit lane, that's Tom Callender, isn't it?
Mandatory stop right at the end of the pit window, but it hasn't worked for him. He's about the only one who went on slicks early that it hasn't worked out for.
No, just coming out now and to an empty track, more or less. Well, Zhu Gunon behind him, who with red mist, I think, after his runs through the penalty box. So these 2 Mercedes coming out. Gunon 18th, so it's going to be effectively 17th place for Callender when he gets going again. Nguyen, though, already having got past Nicky Tim, is 1.4 seconds up the road. Tim on for a very unlikely podium, and then Max Powell on for a podium in 3rd place. Skewering 4th, Engstler 5th, Auer 6th, Pepper 7th, the pole sitter, Feller in 8th, and Marco Wittmann on the last lap got past Mirko Bortolotti for 9th place.
Marco Wittmann is by far the quickest man on the track. Last time around, 1:35.476, and I have to say by far because now Ian Nguyen has put in a 1:35. Safety car is on standby. This could turn everything on its head. If the safety car comes out, all the gaps will close up. Jules Gunon would like that because that would put him back in the mix, wouldn't it? But Marco Wittmann was the quickest man, still is the quickest man on the track. Is that rain on the camera lens? Oh, maybe not. We've still got 14 minutes of this. René Rast finally calling it a day. The car is stranded. We've got Thierry Vermeulen, his car still out on track as well. And the safety car is deployed. It's reset time.
Yes, so as you say, that's what Gunon needed. He's out of the points at the moment, whereas Lucas Auer, the championship leader, in 6th place. He's on course to score 10. Jordan Pepper's had a frustrating race. He's back in 7th place, but he is still scoring points. He'll pick up 9 points at the moment, which would still move him into 2nd place in the championship. That's Tommy Preining helmet on out of the race. Maro Engel has recovered somewhat, 12th place for him, so he's on course for 4 points. Where did Jack Aitken come out of all that? 13th place, so he's only 1 place better off than where he started the race, so he's going to get 3 points. Rennie Rast is going to get none, and Arjen Nguyen, who's 7th in the championship, he's on course for 25 championship points and his 2nd race win. So by my quick maths, it would be 79 points for Lucas Auer, 69 points for Arjen Nguyen. He moved straight up to 2nd in the championship from 7th. And then Jordan Pepper 3rd on 67 points. Right, let's take a breather and catch up with Verena.
Okay. And I'm here with Nicky Reda. Let's just find out what exactly happened that Thomas Preining had to retire the car. He has a puncture?
Yes, he has a puncture. The reason we don't know, but to retire the car.
And all in all, I mean, it's a pretty tricky track at the moment. We see losing a lot of the cars, so I guess it's pretty challenging here.
Yeah, it's very challenging, but I think it's a proper DTM race.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nicky. Back to you.
As Nicholas Rader, one of the 2 brothers, run the championship. Team Manthey, and replays of the carnage in the pit stops. This was the Goon-on incident with the Aston Martin, which was Magnus, I think, wasn't it? That was why he got the penalties. We saw, while we were listening to Nicholas Rader, that Luca Engstler clipped one of the stationary tyres that were on the ground, sort of knocked it forward, skittle-like. That tyre moved forward into the path of one of the mechanics, who then, from the next team up the road, who then didn't expect the tyre to be there, stepped backwards and tripped over it. So, absolute carnage. It's a ferocious, brutal place to be, a pit stop, when pit stops are happening. Oh, so it was right on the pit lane exit, where he got on the gas, and there was contact, yeah, as Vermeulen's car spun right on the exit there, inwards, and Skewing had nowhere to go, absolutely nowhere to go. Did well to get round the Ferrari, actually, didn't he?
Well, they'd already come together in the pit lane, so and this was where Rennie Rast's car finally gave up the ghost completely. This is the 2nd visit to the barriers. You have to get up even earlier in the morning to see Rast go into the barriers twice in one race, not to mention once. That's definitely one to just put behind him and think about tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have enough replays from the pit lane to keep us entertained for the rest of the day. Here's a bit of drama with Thomas Preining and Jordan Pepper up on turn 3, getting close to each other. More than close, a little bit of contact. This is the view. Looking back at it, and Jack Aitken had a grandstand seat of it as well.
He did indeed, didn't he? That was maybe just after Jack's pit stop, as he was trying to get his tyres up to temperature. Fella had a good view of it all as well. But maybe it was a right rear puncture, was it, on Preining's car? Maybe this was the cause of it.
I think there's a very distinct possibility.
At least it didn't, well, we'll see where it did go. If he went here, where Peppers went in free practice, that's very sketchy. Yeah. That's what sent him into the gravel trap at turn 7 yesterday, Jordan Pepper. Right, take a breather. Now, one thing to remember, right on cue, the graphic tells us, you can add up to 2 laps onto the race if laps are lost to a safety car. So it's now going to become a 55-minute plus 3 lap race, like we had 2 weeks ago at Lausitzring. Arjen Nguyen is the race leader. Nicky Tim, who started the race almost at the very back of the grid, well, 16th on the grid, far enough back, he's 2nd. Max Powell is running in 3rd place. He started 13th on the grid. Well, he won a race 2 years ago at the Nürburgring in wet conditions from 14th on the grid, so he's done it before. It's Maurice Skewing on for his best ever result in DTM. I say best ever, it's only his 3rd weekend in the DTM, following his best qualifying. So he's there. Hopefully the car is okay after that light contact with the spun Ferrari of Vermeulen that we saw. 2 Dutch drivers coming together after the Ferrari spun. That then dropped out of the race later on. We've lost Rennie Rast as well. Arjen Meiney, Thomas Preining, Gilles Magnus and Timo Glock also out. Glock with a puncture after some contact with Gilles Magnus's Aston Martin. So Nguyen leads, Tim is 2nd, Powell 3rd, then the orange Porsche of Skewing, then Luca Engstler in the gold and white TGI Lamborghini, then the championship leader, Lucas Auer. Jordan Pepper might fancy his chances here. He lost all those places during the pit stop. He's still got to get them back, but at least he's onto the tail now of the 6 cars ahead of him. Then it's Ricardo Fella in 8th in the Land Audi. Marco Wittmann in 9th place. He's come from a lowly grid position as well, hasn't he, in this race? 20th on the grid for Marco. He just like to make life hard work for himself, doesn't he, from lowly grid positions to good point-scoring finishes. But he's driving really well this year, the German, the 2-time champion. And then it's Mirko Bortolotti 10th, which wouldn't be too bad given the day he had yesterday with a fan belt failure. in qualifying. The puncture in free practice, barely any running yesterday, but 10th place for the defending champion. Replay of the move for the lead of the race and the yellow flags, which are pointed out, because just around the corner there was the Ferrari of Vermeulen. Is that under investigation?
No, it hasn't flashed up. No, oh, no, sorry. Car 63 under investigation. Behaviour under yellow flags. That's Jordan Pepper. That's a different investigation. But the one that we saw, the race stewards are not looking at.
So was that showing that iEngine got through just before the yellow?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was it.
Yeah,
and
just before.
They will have looked at it if there was an issue. Also, Thomas Preining under investigation for behaviour under a yellow flag. Right, safety car is in on this lap. There are 18 runners. That means that everybody, bar 3 cars, is going to score points this afternoon, in theory. But anything can happen in the next 7.5 minutes because they are all nose to tail.
Absolutely right. So I think that replay showing that Gouin just in front when they got to the yellow line, because he started the move coming out of turn 3, didn't he? And the yellows were at turn 5. They were side by side, but you'd say, well, Gouin had his nose in front, so technically he'd already got the move done. Just got away. I mean, perfect timing. Just got through. So Tim second. He'll take that after the weekend he's had. Third, Powell. Then Skuring, Engstler, Auer, rounding up the top 6. Pepper 7th, Feller 8th, Wittmann 9th, Bortolotti 10th. Scherer on course for his first points of the season in 11th, Engel 12th, and here's team radio.
We go all in, mate, all in.
You can win this.
Well, the team boss tells you what to do, and Stubbing is a race engineer this weekend. You do it. So he's up for it.
I'll tell you what, if Maurice Schuring could get a podium out of this, he would have the biggest smile in the whole of the Netherlands.
I spoke to Maurice yesterday. So well done on getting your first points. I said, but I bet 11th place is not where you want to keep finishing. He was like, no, it's a good start. I'm glad I got the points, but we want to now continue to push forwards, and he's doing that. He's there looking for his first podium in the DTM. We've raised over 16,500 euros in race laps in Wales for Africa. As we get a restart underway, look at Max Powell under attack here from the bright orange Porsche, who is trying to get through. Exeter's trying to get through in the gold car, and out onto the grass goes Maurice Schuring. He's going to lose 1, 2, maybe 3 places here, because Pepper muscles his way through as well. 3 places lost from 4th down to 7th. Auer has got him as well. There's more contact between Pepper and Schuring as they go to the left under at turn 3. He's got him back, and now the pole sitter is under attack from Feller in the Audi. I think he's got him. Yes, he has. So Feller gets through as well. And now he's got Marco Wittmann to deal with. Good luck with that. So here comes the big BMW. So Schuring fighting back there. He got back one of the places that he lost, but he lost that to Engstler and Auer in the end. Tried to go forwards, tried to get the podium. All out, he was told that he went all out, but it didn't quite pay off.
He didn't back out of it, did he? He gave it everything, just kept his foot planted on it. A 10 out of 10 for effort. Look at Jules Gounon working his way back from stone last. He's already picked off a couple of cars in front of him, so Gounon trying to get back into the points as well.
Yeah, he's been in the points in every race so far this season, Jules Gounon, not the only driver to do that, but shows his consistency. How bad are your bad days in DTM? That's the difference at the end of the season. If you can get something out of a difficult day, that's always hugely valuable. Good news, this safety car as well for Maro Engel. See if he can get some places back after his pit stop dramas as well. So Gouin looking fairly comfortable on the restart, isn't he, from Tim? Max Powell in third, hanging on to Tim, but not really closing up. And they come through at the end of the restart lap. Only about 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Luca Engstler and Lucas Auer next up. So that's another point coming the way for Auer. He's going to hold on to the championship lead. That's Fabio Scherer in the big Mustang trying to come around the outside of Bortolotti and not quite succeeding in doing so. And Wittmann is about to squeeze past Pepper here in an unlikely place on that run through turns 2 and 3, which is very narrow. The BMW finds a way past the Lamborghini.
Black and white flag has been awarded to Luca Engstler for forcing Maurice Schuring off the track. Meanwhile, incident between first and second, Arnchen Gouin and Nicky Thiem is under investigation.
Okay, right. So is that the yellow flag, maybe, they're looking at again? I'd like to say Mirko Bortolotti being overtaken by Fabio Scherer and the Mustang. Mirko with the onboard camera. And yes, there's confirmation that the white liveried car, as it now is, after a change of livery from round 1. Oh, that's Ricardo Feller skidding wide onto the escape road through these big balls of pebbles on the gravel track that we have, the huge stones that we have which made life very, very difficult for the drivers. Caused lots of damage to the underside of Pepper's car when he went off in free practice. Just understeered onto the curbs. As soon as you touch the grass, well, it ain't grass anymore, it's mud, isn't it? You got no chance. He did well to avoid the barrier.
Definitely did well to keep that out of there. Yeah, that grass, as soon as you're on it, you're heading to the scene of the accident. Oh, this is going to be a bit scary. On board, this is what it looks like. Onto the grass, and then suddenly you are a passenger. Give it everything, all the skills to keep it out the barrier.
Good job that strip of tarmac was there, wasn't it? So he would have been in the barrier, or at least in the gravel trap. It's one of those races, Brian, where if you're on a wet tyre or a dry tyre, you're just on the wrong tyre, because the track is neither near nor there, is it? It's damp, it's dry, it's getting wetter again, it's drying again. Well, it's just a bit of a gamble if you go with the right decision or not.
I think Nicky Tim and Max Powell might have something to say about that, because they were on the right tyre at the right time, and it's looking good for podiums here. We've still got 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, plus 3 laps at the end of this, so it could all change. But Anh Chang-Gun, we said this at Oschersleben, that once he got the monkey off his back, i.e. the first win, was this going to release him? He has looked like a man reborn once again, proving to be a real team leader at the moment in Manthey EMA. He's the race leader, looking for his second win in the DTM. You can see the gap he has over Nicky Tim, who's looking, for my money, a little bit vulnerable to Max Powell, who's behind.
Yeah, so Auer's got 1 more point, but Gounon's got 1 more point than he had before, because he's into 15th place now. So Gounon continues to charge. So 80 points for Auer, 64 for Gounon, but in between them is going to be Anh Chang-Gun with 69 points, picking up 25 for the win here. Pepper is going to be on 66 points because he's dropped another place down to 8th position. Wittmann up to 7th is one to keep an eye on as well in the green BMW.
Sorry, but I don't know how this is possible. Unbelievable.
Poor Ricardo, apologising for going off, but it's so easily done, isn't it? I mean, you've seen one of the greats, René Rast, going off the road, troubled with the lack of grip out there, so you get it slightly wrong and you're off. But you've got to go to the limits to be keeping up with everybody else out there. Easy to drive around and not make a mistake, but you won't be quick. Now look at Wittmann closing up to the Porsche, the orange and black Porsche of Skuring. So he's the next one to keep an eye on. Gounon's not really pulling away anymore from Nicky Tim, is he? The last lap times, what were they? It was a bit quicker, but only about half a tenth quicker than Nicky. So Nicky's keeping up with him now, the Dane.
And no further action as well between Anh Chang-Gun and Nicky Tim. The stewards have looked, and whatever it is they were looking at, have decided no further action. So, as you see it on the track, is where they are at.
Yeah, so they agree. Gounon got through, just had his nose in front just before they got to the yellows, but it was tight. But that's the difference sometimes, isn't it, between a disaster and a glorious day. And it looks like Anh Chang-Gun, having had to wait a couple of years for his first DTM win, he's going to get 2 in 2 months now, having won his maiden victory at Oschersleben in the first weekend of the season. And he's looked good pretty much every race this season. He's been on it all the way through. The Turkish driver, as Brian said, is really starting to see the best of him now, which we hadn't really, for various circumstances, got to see in the last couple of years of the championship. Bar a few fits and spurts, he'd never really lived up to how good a driver we know he is, just because the car wasn't working for him, or a lot of bad luck as well at times, Anh Chang-Gun. But we always knew he could do it, and that was proven to be the case in Oschersleben. And now that he knows how to win in the DTM, he's looking fairly comfortable in the lead of the race, even though he's not that far clear. Right, here comes Marco Wittmann, looking to the outside of Maurice Skuring. We know Maurice is going to fight like hell to try and stay where he is, though, and Wittmann tries, but has to duck back in behind the Porsche.
So another investigation for pit stop infringement, this time Nicolas Bart, as we continue to look at that. Maurice Skuring will be disappointed. I mean, he's currently set up for his best ever finish in DTM. A penalty lap for Nicolas Bart for that infringement as well. But Maurice Skuring is set up for potentially his best ever finish, but he'll be grumpy because he was looking potentially at a podium, certainly in 4th place, trying to come back from that. And Marco Wittmann will not give up. It's going to be 2 laps of pure pressure from the green and white BMW.
It's a real shame for Nicolas Bart and for Come To You Racing, because he was on course for his first championship point, running in 15th place at the moment, the Belgian driver, but I'm afraid he's going to drop back now. That's good news, though, for Ben Green, who will move up into a championship point in the Ferrari for Emile Frey Racing. On board with another of the Emile Frey Racing Ferraris. Having a frustrating race here in 12th position, Jack Aitken. Thierry Vermeulen saying to me he doesn't really like the greasy, slippery conditions, whether it's on slicks or wets, the Ferrari, and they're struggling a bit. And also, even if the car's working well, as it dries out, it's hard to overtake here, really. You get loads more opportunities in the wet because there's opportunities to get past people with better traction out of the corners, and people make mistakes and so forth. But in the dry, Jack Aitken now finding it's not easy to get through. Right, Nicky Tim, not happy with second place from 16th. He's sniffing a race win here, but time is running out.
He's halved the gap on the last lap. He's gone from 0.8 to 0.4 of a second, just under 0.5. So the pressure is still on. You could see when Nicky Tim was going into turn 1, you could see how late he was leaving the braking, trying to close in on the lead. He's certainly not given up yet.
No, and also not giving up at a podium is Luca Engster. He's really pushing fellow brand mate Max Powell, who goes darting through over the tarmac through turn 6, downhill through turn 7, they now go, up over the crest, then down into the pretty much the flattest part of the course here, through the middle of the lap through turns 8 and 9. But Guen is keeping the Dane at bay for now, son of Kurt Tim, of course, one of the many time race winners in the DTM, one of the up there in the rankings, in the top 5 of all-time winners in the DTM, Nicky Tim. Only one win so far in DTM for Nicky, that coming famously at the Norris Ring last year, which is our next port of call in the 2025 season after this weekend. So a battle for the lead and a battle for the final podium, and nails are being chewed back in the garages, and especially at Powell Motorsport. Powell Motorsport, Brian, it's worth saying, is just about the smallest team out there. They're a real proper family-run team, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and Max Powell, who gets involved in preparing the car and sweeping the floor and doing everything else, a bit like Luca Engster as well, both of them just getting heavily involved in their teams. But certainly Max Powell and Powell Motorsport, one of the, you could say, minnows, if there were such a thing in DTM. So good to see them up there fighting towards the front. We now start the final lap of the race. What a lively race it has been, but at the moment, Ian Chen-Guen is leading. Nicky Tim is between these two for the win. Definitely advantage Ian Chen-Guen, but third place far from over. Max Paul feeling a lot of pressure from Luca Engster.
Yeah, Marco Wittmann piled on the pressure at turn 1 at the start of the final lap onto Maurice Skuring as well. It was all over him, but the Porsche driver fended off the 2014 and 2016 champion, and still has in his sights Lucas Auer on this final lap of the race. Lucas running in 5th place. More good points for the first Saturday this year that Lucas Auer hasn't won a race, but 5th place in a race where anything could go right or anything could go wrong. And guess what? Started to rain again, as Brian points out, looking out the commentary box window. So it's going to be a bit skittish out there. This race not done yet. Into the final sector is about to go the race leader, Ian Chen-Guen, with half a lap, less than half a lap to go now. But the rain is coming down. They don't know how much grip is there or isn't there as he goes through the chicane, hugs the curbs, going into one of the fastest sections on the track now, not knowing if there's going to be any grip whatsoever on slick tyres. Nicky Tim closing up all the time, but he's almost there now. Ian Chen-Guen can almost taste a victory. His second win in the DTM is going to come here at Zandvoort. A Turkish driver sprints for the line. Ian Chen-Guen wins here at Zandvoort. Nicky Tim second, and Max Powell rounds out the podium side by side between Wittmann and Skuring as well. And Morris held off Marco by 17 thousandths of a second to get 6th place. Ian Chen-Guen's dad, who had tears in his eyes when Ian got that famous first victory in his career at Oschersleben, he's there with a big smile on his face this time. This is becoming a habit, and he becomes the second driver this season to win 2 races.
Brilliant stuff. And having been released after that first win at Oschersleben, the end of this race could not have come soon enough for a number of drivers. It is chucking it down with rain. Another couple of laps, and this could have been a very, very different result. Everybody just struggling with adhesion. Now, this is to the line. Maurice Skuring and Marco Wittmann, where you thought Lausitzring was close, they said, here, have a look at this as well. Skuring just getting to the line ahead of Mega Marco in the BMW. So that was for 6th place.
Yeah, so Lucas Auer, by my maths, is going to retain the championship lead. Will extend his advantage, actually, because there'll be a new 2nd place driver, and that will be Ian Chen-Guen, I reckon 11 points behind him. That's what 17 thousandths of a second looks like. Unbelievable. But great battle between those two, and that'll be a real confidence booster for Morris to having fend off one of the greats of DTM for such a long time as well. He was holding him off for, what was it, last 7 or 8 laps. Marco was all over him, but he just wouldn't give up. But it'd be a bit bittersweet because Skuring had a chance, didn't he, after that restart of a podium, taking the restart in 4th place. Still, though, his best result yet, 6th place. And after a tricky start at Oschersleben, the young Dutch driver is now showing us just what he can do. Well, there you go. Take a breath. Arjen Guwen, take a bow. You're a double race winner in the DTM. Nicky Tim from 16th on the grid and nowhere really this weekend comes home and snatches a podium in 2nd place. Max Powell has only had 1 podium, and that was a race win. This is his first, and it's the first for the team as well, Powell Motorsport, because he was a Grasser driver when he won at the Nürburgring a couple of years ago. So great day for Powell Motorsport with a podium for their man and for the team. Luca Engstler 4th, Lucas Auer 5th, and then it was Skuring, Wittmann, Pepper, Bortolotti and Engel who rounded out the top 10. First points of the year as well for Fabio Scherer in 11th. Jack Aitken, winner at the Lausitz Ring, only struggling to 12th place in that race. Bendo with another few points in the championship, 13th. Gudon 14th, keeps his run of points going this year. Point scoring finishes at 14th place, 2 points, and 1 point for Ben Green in 15th. Ricardo Feller, Tom Callender and Nicola Bart were the other 3 drivers to finish the race, but all 3 of them out of the points. So this was a race where literally everything was against you, everything and anything could have gone wrong, as several drivers found out. Could have gone wrong in the pits, it could have gone wrong by being on the wrong tyre, somebody crashing in front of you, as Morris found out. Remember, that delayed him as well. It might have been higher up had it not been for that delay coming out of the pits. So to get through it, and get through it with a race win, absolutely brilliant. And there is the joy for Arjen Guwen. Fantastic. Now he marks out his territory and says, do you know what? I'm a championship contender as well. Do not rule me out. Fantastic. Max Powell, let him out of the car then. So Max Powell gets out, gives a congratulatory hug and tap on the shoulder. It's a bit tight, a bit close together here, haven't they? Mind the paintwork. Guwen gets out, and that roar of energy, that was such an intense race, Brian. And they'll sleep well tonight after that. The mental toll on the drivers must have been huge, and on the teams and the mechanics as well.
It's good we got a bit of a break before race 2 tomorrow, isn't it? That had a bit of everything, that race did. There was just everything thrown at these drivers, and then that rain on that last lap. I wondered if we were going to see place changes because nobody knew how much grip was going to be in the corner as they approached it. But Arjen Guwen just kept his head. Nicky Tim was putting the pressure on all the way through. But in the end, Arjen Guwen just held it all together. But great job for Nicky Tim. I mean, he was looking nowhere in free practice 1 and 2. And in quali, he was down in 16th place. So to come through and get a podium, he will be delighted with that.
Feel like a win, I think, won't it?
Yeah, I think it will.
Given how the weekend's gone so far. Doesn't this just sum up today? So last lap of the race, it starts throwing it down with rain, slowing down lap, throwing it down with rain. Now it's stopped and the sun's come out again here at Zandvoort. It's like living in Britain, this. So Lucas Auer, 80 points, 11 clear of Arjen Guwen. Praise be, my maths were right. Jordan Pepper, 3rd, 66 points. Jules Gounon, 4th on 65. Maro Engel drops to 5th on 60. Jack Aitken on 55 points in 6th place. And there is Arjen Guwen leaping into the arms of the team at Manthey, who have served another great run through the pit stops for him as well. There is Nicky with a slightly freshly shaven new haircut for this weekend, and that's something out of nothing, isn't it? Those are the moments you've got to enjoy, because you ask him at the start of the race, you asked him yesterday, are you going to finish on the podium? He just said, well, no chance. I'm nowhere. My pace is well off. I'm nowhere. Look at that. He hasn't even had time to take his helmet off yet. Arjen Guwen is so busy celebrating.
And a first podium for Abt Sportsline with the Lamborghini Huracan in the DTM. And what a way to do it. I don't think anybody saw that coming. So congratulations to them. The start probably of many podiums with that particular steed. But Arjen Guwen was the man who came out on top.
He was indeed. Right, let's get some reaction to a great race with Verena.
And I've got the Viking right here. What a heroic story, coming from P16 to 2nd place. You've got to be really excited about that. What a race.
Yeah, if you're not fast enough on track, you have to risk something. So we went for slicks. The Martin Tomczyk, the alte Hund, he made the call, so you just sit in and you just drive. So, but yeah, I said in the beginning of the season, last year was good, but this year with Red Bull in the blood and some Kempton air, it's full gas. So yeah, I hope this is one of many.
Absolutely, especially since your last win was at nose ring, so now it can continue like this, right, Nicky?
That's true.
All right, well, enjoy up there, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, his second podium, and his first since that win, that maiden win at the Norris Ring. My basic German translates that he just called that Martin Tomczyk, the team principal, made the call on the slicks, and he called him an old dog as well. The old dog made the call there. Well, he knows how to get on the podium around here, and Martin Tomczyk, if that's true, made a brilliant choice, didn't he, for his driver? If you're not quick enough, you've got to take a risk. And a risk that paid off big time for Nicky Tim from 16th up to second place. As Brian says, it's Ab's first podium with that Lamborghini in the DTM, having had all that success as an Audi team for 25 years in the championship. That's a great effort by them, and a really brilliant story as well for Powell Motorsport. They were quick at the Lausitz Ring last time out, but the pit stops did for them, especially on the Sunday where they mistimed the pit stop and came in too late for the pit window and got penalties. They had a bit of a disaster in the pit stop on Saturday as well, but they come together. Max says we win as a team, we lose as a team, and that's a brilliant result for them as a team to get their first podium in the DTM, and for Max to get his second podium in the championship. He positively sprints to the top steps of the podium. He won't quite get onto the top step of the podium, but he's there nonetheless. Third place for him, and a big smile for the German driver. And here we go, Nicky Tim. There's going to be some celebrations tonight. Now, beware, everybody, because unless you're Jack Aitken or Jules Gounon, and you're flying to Le Mans tonight, the rest of the DTM drivers get a lie-in because there's no qualifying tomorrow, and 4:30 is the start time. So there might be, maybe, a bit of a celebration if you're with Nicky Tim tonight, somewhere near the paddock, I reckon. And that man surely is going to celebrate. Andrew Goen with his second win in 3 weekends in the DTM, moving up to second place in the championship. Manthey EMA are the winning team as well. The sun, ironically, shines down upon everybody as we get set for the Turkish national anthem for your race winner, Ayhan Goen. So waiting for the national anthem. We didn't hear it. I don't think it's played yet. But, well, you've got to wait for the moment, a chance to catch the breath for our 3 drivers. Technical malfunction. It's probably got wet, the machine, hasn't it, after all that rain?
Where's Larry 1040 when we need him? When that went...
just sang it himself,
he sung it himself, yeah. And so we need Iron Chan to step up to the market. Here we go. Join in if you know the words. Well, they rewound the cassette to the right place, ask your parents, found the national anthem, and it was worth the wait. It's a rousing national anthem, that, the Turkish national anthem. We get to hear it for the second time this season for your race winner, Ayhan Goen. Get Ensar, the president, the sporting president of the ADAC, who run and own the DTM Championship, is the man that presents the trophy to Ayhan Goen. Biggest smile in the whole of this part of the Netherlands for our race winner. Guido Kutschera from Dekra is going to present our second place trophy to a delighted Nicky Tim. As I say, that'll feel like a win
his second pot in the DTM to follow that victory at the Norris Ring almost 12 months ago. And this, I think, will also feel like a big win for a small team. Powell Motorsport, Podium. If every race could have some rain in it, Max Powell would absolutely love that, because he got his one win in the DTM in the wet conditions at the Nürburgring 2 years ago, and he's done it again here in wet conditions. Not a win, but onto the podium. Ibrahim Chahar from the Virolog AG company backing this event this weekend now presents our trophy to our winning team, Manthey EMA. Disappointment for one of their drivers, Thomas Priding's had that back-to-back non-finishes. But Maurice Skuring with a great drive, and of course a win for the third driver in the team, Ayenjin Nguyen, who is now their key driver in terms of fighting for the championship after 5 races, because he's the one closest to Lucas Auer in the points. As we now go for the final race of the day, the one for the champagne. And Nicky Tim splatters the whole team down below at Abt. Ayenjin Nguyen, he's getting used to this, so he's quick to get the cork pot, and already Nicky is celebrating. He started drinking already in mid-afternoon to celebrate that second place. One of those races, Brian, we've had 2 sensational races now back-to-back at the Lausitz Ring and here today.
Can we make it a hat-trick? I reckon we can. Yeah, have you ever seen how a Viking celebrates? Well, take a look around the Nicky Tim motorhome tonight. Let's have a look at some of the replays from this race.
Our replay operator must have been, his hands must have been smoking after all that action today. This was the story of Ayenjin Nguyen's race to victory, though. This was the key moment, just squeezing ahead just before he got to the yellows. It was as tight as that, and then controlling things from the restart. There's his dad, absolutely delighted. There's the man of the moment, and the team celebrate their first podium of the season as well at Abt, with Nicky Tim coming home in second place. Come on, give us a smile. What a great sight that is. He's just looked, as Brian said, a bit subdued all weekend, but now he's got his moment, Nicky Tim, with that trophy. Right, let's head down to Verena.
And I've got the winner right here, Ayenjin Nguyen. Congratulations, the second time. I mean, you know how to do it. You're just rocking across the track. Congratulations, you got a big smile, so you got to be happy.
Yeah, I'm super happy, and honestly, it was mega race. I enjoyed a lot. It was quite tricky. It was the wet, then it was drying. We need to survive with the wets. We need to choose the right time. Then at the end, the restart, I was easy leading, let's say, but then there was a restart. Then there was a rain in the last lap. We had everything, but we managed really well. The team managed it really well, thanks to them, and yeah, we are on the top, super happy.
I mean, just kind of summarizing the race today, you had a bit of everything, right?
Yes, we had everything, but I think this year DTM is going crazy with all races, and we have just another special race, and I think season will go like this.
And hopefully tomorrow you can repeat something like this again.
Yes, I will try.
All right, thank you so much. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Absolutely epic race that. Ayenjin Nguyen with a big, broad smile. He's such a nice guy. Great to see him celebrating his second victory and his best start to a DTM campaign yet. Max Powell and the Super Slow-Mos coming home with his first podium of the season, the team's first ever podium in the DTM. Nicky Tim with his first podium of the year and second as a driver, and Abt with their first with a Lamborghini. But Ayenjin Nguyen, the star driver of today's race. From Brian Oliver and me, Chris Hartley, in the commentary box, that's it for now. We'll see you again tomorrow, back down to Verena in the pit lane.
Thanks to our commentators. And Max Powell, what a story, coming from P13 onto the podium. I mean, that's something that was hard work, maybe a tiny bit of luck, but also a lot of strategy, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely strategy. We thought, okay, what are we going to do before the start? Because there was no rain expected, really. Track was drying up, and everybody was more or less on rain tires, but we know Zandvoort, with the wind, it's drying up quick. So we decided, okay, let's take the risk, P13. If you start P13, go with the flow, or with everyone else, you might end up P9 if everything is good. So we said, let's take the risk, get some balls, and try it out, and it worked obviously well. I mean, in the first 3 laps, it was definitely tricky, but we had to push like hell to get some people before the pit stops, and it worked out.
It worked out so well. Congratulations. Hopefully you can repeat something similar like that tomorrow. Thank you, Max. And yeah, no risk, no fun. So we're looking forward to tomorrow, to another really exciting race, hopefully. All right, so enjoy the highlights. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.